Peace, fam. It's your brother Coop. Welcome back for part two of private business and banking. So we're gonna finish out this PowerPoint. You know what I mean? Bring it into its entirety, and then we can move forward on some more bills from there. So once again, the point of this particular presentation is to put us back in the mindset as indigenous peoples how to get creative again, and how to become creators, and how to become makers, and how to be owners of those things. You know what I'm saying? Those things that we manifest on a physical plane, and those things that encompass our thoughts. We have a right to our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are copyrighted. The same way your thumbprint is copyrighted. It's unique. So thoughts may be similar, but how those thoughts come about will always vary. So everyone has something called intellectual property rights. That means whatever came out your brain and you made in a form to where people outside yourself can view the manifestation of what was once inside your mind, then you have the rights to that. Being the creator, you have the right to own that which you created belongs to you, right? So we're gonna go, and a lot of this information, believe it or not, y'all, it's redundant after a while, because if you haven't realized by now, I think I got like what? I think I put over like 200 videos up. You know what I'm saying? Talking about nationality and trust. They're all consisting of the same principle. They're all consisting of the same meat, of the same substance. You know what I'm saying? I'm going over the same things repeatedly in just different ways, trying to tap into different parts of the brain to help you remember, all right, how to function, how to navigate. Because if we don't know how to navigate, then we're not going to be able to make a path for our generation coming in. Nor are we going to be able to make a path for our women, so they can become industrious and retake their place. You know what I'm saying? Shit, nation don't go nowhere without a woman. So if your woman is lacking, if she's lacking in creativity, and she's not building, and she's not working on manifesting something, then you know what I'm saying, that's a waste of perfectly good earthly power, divine earthly power. So it is our duty as men to reestablish that, and to help promote that back into our women, so they can get creative again. You know what I'm saying? They can get to making things again and owning things. You know what I'm saying? I tell you, the feeling of creating something, giving it out to the world, and someone finding value in it, placing what they believe their value is back into you for your energy, is a beautiful thing. It's the way it should be. If you have something, everyone has something of value to somebody. There's too many people on this plane that you can't find at least one person that could find value in something you have to offer. If you have that mindset, then there is no limits. And what you'll find is you're going to find out that there's different things you can do that you didn't know you could do. Different skills, you know what I'm saying, you get to acquire and attain, and then you get to put those things into use. You actually get to apply those things which you've learned. That is actually what wisdom is. Wisdom is actually applying what you've learned, not just knowing something and knowing when to say something. Wisdom is the application of the knowledge. So if you're not applying what you're learning in real time, you don't have any wisdom, because wisdom is the actual application. And from that application, you gain experience. From experience, now if someone comes to you with a similar situation, you can relate better, because you have experience. You see? So that being said, we're going to continue on with this PowerPoint. We're going to get right into it. So this was the last page we left off on. we're continuing off on foreign entities, being the fact that we are indigenous peoples, and as indigenous peoples, which is in the mind, if you need to know in your heart, you need to know in your heart and in your mind that you are indigenous. You are an American, a true American, without doubt or contradiction. You need to be firm. You need to be very adamant on that. If you ain't adamant on that, anyone will be able to push you off your square. All right. They say this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. So if you ain't brave here, you can't call this place home if you ain't brave. Of course, you know brave is another term for the indigenous natives, but you know what I'm saying? Being brave is what makes this home for us. If we're not being brave, then this ain't home. This is home to someone else. This is the home of the brave. So you gotta have heart in this day and age. You gotta have heart to not be afraid to one fail. Don't be afraid to fail. The faster you fail, the faster you get up, the faster you learn from your mistakes, the faster you get back on the horse, the faster you succeed. What's the problem with failure? What's the problem with making a mistake? How you gonna learn how you gonna learn something new if you don't make any mistakes? That's just my thoughts on that. And that's what helps me release the tension or the pressure of I gotta do this right, or I want to make sure I do this right. I want to make sure I don't make any mistakes. Do you realize that's impossible? You could go over a document a million times. I promise you, a new set of eyes look at that, they'll probably find at least one or two mistakes. And you could have been like, I went over this document a million times. How did I not catch that? Because it's impossible to be perfect. We can only strive to be as perfect as possible. But to be perfect in itself is not a reality. There's no such thing as perfect. Okay? So like I said, want to make sure you do it right. That's based on your understanding. If you understand what you're doing, how can you do it wrong? How could you do it wrong? If I know how to, if I'm into music production and I know how to make beats and I know how to put sounds together to make compositional, you know what I'm saying, frequencies where they sound pleasant to the ear, you know what I'm saying? How would I be able to do that without being able to comprehend or being able to put those things together? How? It's an intuitive thing that we have inside of us. We can't deny it any longer. We can't be afraid to fail. We gotta let that stuff go. They don't serve us. We gotta be fearless. I didn't say reckless. I said fearless. I didn't say reckless. I said fearless. All right. So being that we're foreign entities and that we're indigenous, like I said, we have a right to function. And when I say they, I mean the United States of America, uh, which our ancestors put in place, or helped put in place, I should say, right? Because this wasn't necessarily built for us. We already had our own government in place. So we really were building a government for the Europeans, essentially. And this is what they made of it. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations. It doesn't take away from the fact that without Morocco, there is no United States. And the United States is forever attached to the Moroccan Empire. So just know whenever you talk about United States, you're synonymously talking about Morocco because they are both one and the same. There is no United States, once again, without Morocco. So Morocco is essentially the god that birthed life into the United States. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's get back. This is from the IRS codes, CFR, Codes of Federal Regulation. All right. Foreign entities, persons not required to file a U.S. tax return. Because if you remember in the last presentation, in the last video, same presentation, that my entity, L, had a 0 on the second page, which means it was on a 0 master file, meaning that there's no requirements to file. File what? There's no requirements to file anything. That means that when I'm operating or doing business in my free national name as Cool L, then, or I should say my free national title as Cool L, then I'm not required to file anything. Therefore, whatever type of business or contracts I'm entering into, I'm always going to be tax exempt. I'm always never going to have any filing requirements. And whoever I'm giving it to, whatever entity I'm giving it to, or whatever organization, when they reference it, when they fact check it, and they trace those numbers back, is going to lead back to me. Okay, so, and the fact that I'm being indigenous, and the fact that I have tax treaties, I have treaties in place to protect me from certain injuries, okay, that could befall upon me through mistreatment of other citizens, right? Especially citizens who don't share my bloodline, they don't share my historical continuity, they don't share my traditions or my culture, they don't share my eating habits, they don't share my you know what I'm saying, my likes, my dislikes, my nationality, my religion. They don't share these things with me. Therefore, these are not my peers. You understand what I'm saying? These people are not my peers. So, if you, the whole point of treaties is to protect yourself from foreign, from foreign injury. Okay. Now I know a lot of people are saying, well, every treaty the United States has entered into, they've broken. Yeah, except for one. It's the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Out of all the treaties, that is the most important treaty. That is the treaty, like I said, that birthed life into the United States of America. So, all right, the United States reneged on some Indian treaties, right? So you're telling me that the master reneged on a contract he made with his slave? Because that's what Indians are. Indians are under the jurisdiction of the United States. They fall under the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which makes them U.S. citizens, which is why they have they receive their stipends every month or quarterly, all right, from the United States to distribute evenly amongst all members. But however, those are not the original peoples there. And not to mention to the fact that the entire land is theirs, but they're limited to a particular reservation. So that right there tells you that there's an inside job happening. All right, because how can we be Indians when there's a country in the world called India? There's a country in the world called India, and the people or the natives of that country are called Indians. So ain't that kind of confusing when you got Indians from India who come over here to America, and then they're coming across Indians, and this ain't India? It's weird. It's really weird, and it's confusing. So once again, natural peoples have a right to enforce treaties. Now, the question is, what has actual substance? Because native or Indian treaties have no substance whatsoever. Now, like I said, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States and the Sultan of Morocco, that has substance, that has weight. Okay? Even to the point that after the Sultan died and his son took his stead, they had to re-sign it just to make sure. Like they were going, I mean, the agents of the United States were going crazy, nervous as fuck, hoping that the son would not renege on his father's promise and hope and resign the treaty. Why? Why was the United States so nervous? Why were they so nervous that the son wouldn't sign the treaty? Maybe because without that treaty, they'd be non-existent. Without that treaty, there's no life that's being breathed, that's being blown into the United States. Once again, the United States is attached to Morocco. So if Morocco one day, if the kingdom, right, if the kingdom of Morocco decides one day to no longer fuck with the United States, that's going to be a big problem. Not that the United States isn't already falling, but shit, that would be the real backbreaker right there. All right. So now, foreign corporations and individuals not engaged in a trade or business in the United States, and foreign partnerships, foreign trusts, and foreign estates that do not have gross income that is or is treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business are not required to obtain an EIN unless they otherwise have United States source income on which the tax liability was not fully satisfied by the withholdings of tax at the source. However, a foreign entity may need an EIN to comply with IRS withholding regulations or to claim tax treaty benefits. In this case, the taxpayer should complete Form SS4 as shown below. All right, so the SS4 form is the application form to get an EIN. That's what the SS4 form is, okay? If you look at the SS4 form, this is the rules. It's going, look, line 7B, provide an ITIN or social security number if appropriate. Otherwise, write not applicable. So remember, that's the portion I was saying. If you don't have a social, they can't deny you an EIN, which would be discrimination based on the fact you don't have a social. Okay? Remember, giving your social information is voluntary. All right? So, and I also got a bill to add on that on this particular slide too, in dealing with giving out the social security information. All right. So, right, if you don't have a social, which you don't, okay, because you have to think about it. The straw that was created for you, right, when you were born, that was given a social security number. However, when you declare your nationality, it's like you getting baptized. You're coming out anew. You're a brand new person. Okay? You have a divine creed. You have a religion. You want to do right. You want to be just. All right? So therefore, this is a new person that's been born, a new spirit that's been born. All right? So you have to think about it as a new being, that being. Like for me, for instance, Kumar Ray Su El. Does Kumar Ray Su El have a social security number? Was Kumar Ray Su El given a social security number at birth? No. No, it wasn't. There was a entity created called Reginald Cordell Jules that happened to match my name um, when you speak it, but not spelled the same way. But for some reason, there was a connection made. And so uh, once that happened with that, there was a social security number made for Reginald Cordell Jules, not for Kumar Ray Su El. And that's the mindset you gotta have. You gotta know who you are. And you'll be able to, once you know who you are, you'll be able to know what you are not by knowing what you are. All right, so claim your tax treaty benefits. It's right here, man. It's right here for you to claim. Do it. If the foreign entities or individuals above, see, uh, establish these entities on the zero file. So as a foreign. When you create a foreign EIN, you already put as on the zero master file, not required to file anything. If the foreign entities / individuals above receive a letter from the IRS soliciting the filing of a U.S. tax return, the foreign entity individual should respond to the letter immediately by stating that it has no requirement to file any U.S. tax returns. Failure to respond to the IRS letter may result in a procedural assessment of the tax by IRS against the foreign entity. So please respond. And like I said, you know it's foreign. Just look for that zero. You know it's not required to file, so don't. Once again, they may come and test you. They may come and test you. Be prepared. Now, if the foreign entity later becomes liable to file a U.S. tax return, the foreign entity should not apply for a new EIN, but instead use the EIN it was first issued on all U.S. tax returns filed thereafter. So just because you create an EIN or create a trust properly in a foreign jurisdiction doesn't mean that it's protected from you doing some dumb thing, doing something dumb to put it back under the jurisdiction. So you gotta make sure you know how to contract. Okay? You gotta make sure you know how to contract. It's just that simple. All right. If the application is received over the phone, ask for the caller's name, social security number, ITIN, date of birth, and position with the entity. If the caller does not have a social security number, ITIN, and therefore cannot be authenticated using CC and NOL, the new EIN will still be disclosed to the caller as long as their position with the entity authorizes them to receive it. So this is what I'm saying. If they try to get people thinking, oh, you need social security, you must have a social. No, if you don't have one, you don't have one. Be true to that. They got to move on according to procedure. All right? So we got to learn procedure. And I'll be honest with you, there ain't no one who's really on the ground, bumping their heads, going through the trial and error to actually bring the information back to people. I see a lot of people doing a whole lot of webinars, talks, meetings, and stuff like that, or YouTube videos, but nothing more so talking about history, nothing really talking about what we need to do today. Which is crucial because we have a lot we need to do. So now, the concept of the DBA. All right. A trading name or business name is a pseudonym used by companies to perform their business under a name that differs from the registered legal name of the business. In a number of countries, the phrase trading as abbreviated TA is used to designate trade names. In the United States, the phrase doing business as abbreviated DBA, DBA or D.B.A. or D/B/A is used. This is also sometimes used in Canada, but operating as abbreviated to OA and trading as abbreviated to TA is the most common form. Trade names are typically used by companies to conduct their operations under a simpler brand as opposed to using their formal name within all public communications, or when a desired name was not able to be registered by the business operator, or if that business is owned by a separate company, franchise, or a sole proprietorship. Now here's the legal concept. The distinction between a registered legal name and a fictitious business name or trade name is important, as businesses with the latter give no obvious indication of the true identity of the entity that is legally responsible for their operation. Fictitious business names do not create legal entities in and of themselves. They are merely names assumed by existing persons or entities. Legal agreements such as contracts are normally made under the registered legal name of the business or owner, and the legal name must be used whenever a business sues or is being sued. Okay? So this is very crucial here. It says the legal name. The legal name must be used whenever a business sues or is being sued. Okay? I don't know if you guys realize, but when it comes to the legalities of things, have you noticed that they always put the last name first, first name, last name first, first name last? Like for me, it would be L, Q, L, comma, Q. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. And the legal name must be used whenever a business sues or is being sued. The legal name. United States concept of DBA. In several U.S. states, DBAs are officially referred to using another term. Oregon uses assumed business name, Washington calls DBAs trade names. Other states refer to trade styles or fictitious business names. For consumer protection purposes, many U.S. jurisdictions require businesses operating with fictitious names to file a DBA statement. Though names including the first and last name of the owner may be accepted, this also reduces the possibility of two local businesses operating under the same name, although some jurisdictions do not provide exclusivity for a name or may allow more than one party to register the same name. Note, though, that this is not a substitute for filing a trademark application. A DBA filing carries no legal weight in establishing trademark rights. In the U.S., trademark rights are acquired by use in commerce, but there can be substantial benefits to filing a trademark application. Sole proprietors are the most common users of DBAs. Sole proprietors are individual business owners who run their business themselves and are typically newer to the small business game. Since most people in these circumstances use a business name other than their own name, it's often necessary for them to get DBAs. Generally, a DBA must be registered with a local or state government or both, depending on the jurisdiction. For example, California, Texas, and Virginia require a DBA to be registered with each county or independent city. In the case of Virginia, where the owner does business, Maryland and Colorado have DBAs registered with a state agency. And Virginia requires corporations and LLCs to file a copy of their registration with the county or city to also be registered with the State Corporation Commission. DBA statements are often used in conjunction with a franchise. Franchise meaning a person, company, corporation, entity, ens legis. The franchise will have a legal name under which it may sue and be sued, but will conduct business under the franchise's brand name. So if you're going to sue, right, you need to make sure you have the legal name of the entity and the legal name of the officer who's doing business as that. All right. Other than that, if you're doing a fictitious filing, right, we're going to read again. Let's see. So one is in order to be true if one is being sued, and the other one is to conduct business. So you can be kind of shady when you're doing business, but you got to be transparent when it comes to court of law, when it comes to being sued, commerce. So you see how these things work with the fictitious name and the legal name. So essentially, the legal name of your entity should be in your free national title. I'm saying, my opinion, first title, last title, you move about your business. And then the responsible party should be your whole title. Your whole title. These are really self-explanatory. We can move forward here. Now, do not get technologically left behind. All right? Because essentially this is for the children. So we don't want to get left behind, right? We want to stay on point, stay ahead of the curve. Set up a PayPal account in the name of your person, i.e. for me, it's Ku Un L. All right? Set up an email if you need to. Create a TIN, EIN/EIN under your state, i.e. for me, it's Sunel Shi Amuru Republic. So Sunel Shi Amuru Republic is my foreign jurisdiction, which I am a member of, and my allegiance to such organization or state allows me access to my state issuing me an EIN where I can conduct business and protect I can protect my commerce while I'm conducting my business on behalf of my state, and which is all protected in my constitution, in my state constitution. I'm not talking about Washington State. I'm talking about the Sunel Passage of Unity. All right, that's my state constitution. Now, Ku Un L is on the zero master file, meaning I am not required to file anything on behalf of Ku Un L. Ku Un L don't need shit. All right. My TIN/EIN for Ku'un L will be used to identify me, my business account, etc. Use your TIN/EIN as you would a social. Use it as you would a social. They're both 9-digit numbers. Go open a personal, non-interest bearing account using your TIN/EIN in your free national name. Get the children in the mindset of working for themselves early. Open up an account for them. Link that account to their PayPal and manage their PayPal. So if they have ideas for a job, create that company for them, then manage the PayPal, which will be linked to their account. That way, you can create the environment as if they're putting themselves on a budget where they're getting paid. But they're getting paid through you because you want them to get in the habit of when they do a job, they get compensated for that. All right, and there's no easier way of doing that than through PayPal. You can just send over compensation. They got a card that's attached to that. Boom, transfer that over to the card. And that's how you conduct. That's how you teach, lay a foundation for the youth to follow, so they can add to that. Take advantage of your ancestral inheritance and be free to build an economic community for your families. So take advantage. We have a right to not be taxed or levied upon by foreigners. We have a right, okay? And I'm pulling this out because I want people to comprehend the true initiative of public schools, all right? Because all day long, there's a lot of us who can say, damn, man, a lot of this stuff I didn't learn in public school. There's a reason why we didn't learn in public school. Don't think it's by coincidence, all right? So check this. This is the General Education Board. Fun facts. The board was founded in February 1902 and chartered by the United States Congress on the 15th of January 1903. Its object being the promotion of education throughout the United States without distinction as to race, sex, or creed. Beside gifts from several philanthropists, the board received, when chartered, a special gift of $1 million from John D. Rockefeller for carrying on work in the southern United States upon evidence that this work would be effectively carried out on the 30th of June 1905. He made an additional gift of $10 million, and in 1907 a further sum of $32 million. Golly, Moran. I should say notes, right? Rockefeller eventually gave it $180 million, which was used primarily to support higher education and medical schools in the United States and to improve learning practices in the South. So this man gifted $180 million. This is how much he believed in this particular organization and its agenda. He invested $180 million. Let's see the intentions. Okay, and to improve farming practices in the South. It helped eradicate hookworm and created the county agent system in American agriculture, linking research at state agricultural experiment stations with actual practices in the field. By 1934, it was making grants of $5.5 million a year. It spent nearly all its money by 1950 and ceased operating as a separate entity in 1960 when its programs were subsumed into the Rockefeller Foundation. All right. So this is what a neophyte would get after they go through the 12 stages or the 12 cycles of the so-called Rockefeller school system. All right, this is what you get, your mortarboard. Now, if we were taught nationality from Jump Street, this right here is all of this and more. Nothing encompasses this. This is all of the sciences we have. And you can see where they get a lot of their technology from. Don't that look like a belly button at the top right there? Belly button. Don't that look like an umbilical cord? Right. So that's what I'm saying. Ain't nothing new under the sun. They're literally taking our own science, right? This is an umbilical cord. This is in honor of the woman, right? Because we all got a mom. That's why the tassel hang free. So, I was born of a free woman, not a bond woman. All right, philosophy. This is going to be a kicker for you guys. In our dreams, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. So they're saying that we're docile, right? Meaning we're at the lunch, we're like zombies. We don't really know what's going on. All right. The present education conventions fade from their minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk, meaning country people, because we did like the countryside. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning. Rewind that. I'm going to read that again. What? What? What's your philosophy now? We shall not try. We shall not try. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or men of science. We have not to raise up from among them authors, editors, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we have an ample supply. The task we set before ourselves is very simple, as well as a very beautiful one. To train these people as we find them to a perfectly ideal life just where they are. That's their philosophy. To not teach you or your children to be philosophers, politicians, statesmen, artists, geniuses, scholars. They don't want you to become that. They want you to be perfectly fine just where you're at. Complacent and docile. This is in the philosophy for the Rockefeller Board of Education. This is their philosophy. So their philosophy is not to born philosophers, lawyers, scholars, everything that a goddamn nation would need to build itself up amongst its own people. The public school system is designed to not create those things, to not bring those gifts out of our children. And you know what? It ain't their job either. That's our job. That's mom and dad's job to bring out the God inside the child. That's no one else's job. I can't put that on a teacher. I've known my baby since she came out the womb. Who else's job is that supposed to be? Why would it be anyone else's job other than mine? I don't, you know what I'm saying? But when we trust other people and we trust that they have our best intentions at hand, and then we come to find out they don't, it's really simple decisions to make. It's really not too hard. You know what I mean? What is best for our children? We can see that they're not looking to bring out the best in our children, and we all know our children are fire. They got ideas, they got thoughts, they are talented, they're artistic, but they're made to seem like they're the ones out of pocket. Something's always wrong with them. They're the ones causing problems. They're the ones can't focus. So maybe because your shit is lame and you ain't trying to bring out the best in them. Maybe that's why they can't fucking focus. Maybe because there ain't no damn fusiform happening and they goddamn falling asleep in class. You know what I'm saying? Or they can't sit still because they're trying not to fall asleep in class. Maybe you want to give them a title on them like ADHD. So once you understand agendas, you understand what the fuck is up, and it's no longer a spook. It's no longer a spook fest. It makes common sense. Yo, you was never trying to bring out the best in me anyway. You ain't want me to succeed. You didn't want me to be better. You wanted me to be happy, just where I was. And at that time where I was I was black and African American. So you didn't want me to realize my true potential. You didn't want me to find out about me, find out about myself, my culture, so that I can bring out my own inner genius. You wanted me to be docile and happy just where I am. So I can just go to school, go to work, get a job, pay my taxes, hopefully get my SSI when I retire, and then kick the bucket, and then leave the rest of my shit to the next generation. If the state don't come and take it first. What type of living is that? But this is how we're getting set up. So when they say that the public school system is teaching our children or planting the seeds or preparing our children for the prison pipeline, this is some real shit. Because you know what type of people go into prison pipelines? These are people who are lacking in these things, who are lacking philosophy, who are lacking in learning, who are lacking in science, who weren't given an opportunity to bring out that shit that made them the shit. They didn't want that out, and they don't want that shit out today. They don't want it. They don't want it. They don't. It's in their documentation. They don't want it. Remember, they want us to be happy where we're at. Remember that shit. They want us to be happy where we're at. No progress. You understand? Let's keep on reading. To train these people as we find them to a perfectly ideal life just where they are. So we will organize our children and teach them to do in a perfect way the things their fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way. So they already set it up to where we're always going to be at fault, to where all they got to do is do the opposite of what we're doing, and they're going to be in the shine. Their children, you see, because European children are looking after their children. They don't give a fuck about our children. That's our job. Mom and dad's supposed to give a fuck about the child, not somebody else. Because if that's not the case, then mom and dad shouldn't have had a fucking child. If they're not willing to make that a priority. Simple facts. If you're not prepared to do that, don't shoot the club. Don't fucking put yourself in predicament where you're trying to be something that you're clearly not ready to be. Don't do that to yourself. Don't play yourself. Because you're going to play yourself, you're going to play your earth, and you're going to play your seed. You're going to play yourself threefold. Don't play yourself. If you can't handle it, don't do that. But that's just the responsibilities of being a mother and a father. All right? So they're taking care of their children, right? They're going to organize their children and teach them to do in a perfect way the things that our fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way. In the homes, in the shops, and on the farm. General Education Board, Occasional Papers, number 1, General Education Board, comma, New York, 1913, page 6. When did the Prophet open up the Canaanite temple again? In Newark, New Jersey, 1913. When did the Federal Reserve Bank come into existence? 1913. You understand? Philosophy of the Rockefeller Education Board to make us the complete opposite of God. 1913. With that being said, let's do the job of securing our children's spiritual and physical wealth, because that's our job, not anyone else's job. Because as we can see, they don't have our children's best interests at heart. All right. So this is really a war we're fighting here, man, on many levels. Our children are right. Our children are right in the middle of it. They don't even realize it. Well, no, I'm gonna take that back. I think they do realize it. I think it's us as the mothers and fathers who are not realizing that they are in the middle of war. So, with that being said, right? Let's set up the children to be in full control of their national, political, social, and economic destiny. Because when you got nationality, when you got your trust, you have divine and earthly power. Point blank and period. That being said, you know what I'm saying? Peace and thanks and adieu from Sunel Shiamu Republic. Thank y'all for watching. Keep staying in tune. Keep showing support. Hit the PayPal link. Um, you know what I'm saying? If anyone wants to make donations, it's very much appreciated. Thank you for your energy in advance. It's reciprocal, of course. You know, I'm always gonna give my energy. And also, if anyone's interested in these PowerPoint slides, just give me a holler. suneluniversity@gmail.com. Um, Send me proof of donation via PayPal, and I'll be happy to email you the link for the PDF.